It was 7:30 a.m. when Daniel rushed into the cafe, tugging at his old apron with one hand and his tie with the other. He was late again. His manager's glare followed him like a spotlight as he slipped behind the counter. The morning rush had begun, the endless stream of office workers, students, and corporate elites ordering their caffeine fixes before facing another day. Daniel, 34, moved on instinct. He'd been a waiter for years, though once upon a time, he'd dreamed of becoming a teacher. But that dream had faded the moment his wife, Emma, passed away, leaving him alone with a little girl, Lily, his entire world. Every spilled drink, every rude customer, every aching back was worth it if it meant keeping her fed, clothed, and smiling. That morning, though, something was different. He wasn't himself. His eyes kept darting toward the window, toward the street where the sun glared off the glass towers downtown. He was waiting for someone. Then she walked in, tall, poised, power in every step. The kind of woman who looked like she'd never known exhaustion. Her navy blue suit was immaculate, her platinum hair tied neatly behind her head. That was Rebecca Hartwell, the CEO of Hartwell & Company, one of the biggest tech firms in the city. Daniel recognized her instantly. He'd seen her face before, on posters, on screens, and once, in a hospital hallway. His hand shook as he approached her table, coffee cup in hand. "Good morning, ma'am. Americano, right?" She nodded curtly, eyes still fixed on her tablet. "Make it quick, please. I have a major meeting in 20 minutes. Her tone was clipped, rehearsed, like someone who'd forgotten what warmth sounded like. Daniel looked at her, and for a moment, his chest tightened. She didn't recognize him. Of course she wouldn't. Why would she? People like her never remembered people like him, but he remembered her. 2 years ago, Daniel's wife, Emma, had been driving home from work when her car was struck at an intersection by a black luxury sedan. The driver never stopped. Emma didn't make it. The police said they had no leads, no witnesses, no justice. But Daniel never forgot that night, the smell of rain, the faint glimpse of the car before it sped away. And when he'd finally seen Rebecca's car on the news months later, boasting the same rare model and color, something inside him froze. For months, he'd convinced himself it couldn't be her. Until last week. When he overheard one of her former employees mention that she'd been in a minor accident around that same time. She'd never been charged. Never even asked. Now she sat right in front of him, calm and confident, unaware that the man holding her coffee had lost everything because of her. Daniel's breath quickened. His heart pounded so hard it drowned out the cafe noise. He took one small step forward and deliberately tilted the cup. The coffee splashed across her white blouse. Gasps filled the cafe. Rebecca shot up, furious. "What on earth? Are you insane?" "I'm sorry," Daniel stammered, his face pale. But his eyes didn't show regret, only something deeper, something that made her pause. He turned and rushed to the back, ignoring his manager's shout. Rebecca stood frozen, clutching a napkin, watching him disappear behind the counter. There was something in his eyes that unsettled her, like pain she'd somehow caused. That night, Daniel came home to a small, dimly lit apartment. Lily was sitting cross-legged on the floor, drawing something with crayons. "Daddy! Look! It's you and Mommy and me at the park." Daniel smiled weakly. "That's beautiful, sweetheart." He knelt down beside her, his eyes misting as he looked at the picture. "You know, Mommy would be proud of you. Do you think she can see me from the sky?" Lily asked, her voice small. He nodded, swallowing hard. "Always." But later that night, when Lily was asleep, Daniel sat by the window, staring at the city lights. He couldn't shake the guilt. He hadn't planned to hurt Rebecca, just to confront her, to make her remember what she'd done. But he couldn't. The look on her face, the way she'd seemed genuinely confused. What if he was wrong? The next morning, as he walked back to the cafe, he found a black car parked outside. The door opened and Rebecca stepped out. His heart sank. "Mr. Davis," she said quietly. "We need to talk." They sat in the empty cafe, the morning sun spilling through the windows. "I did some checking after yesterday," she began, her voice softer now. "I found your name. Your wife's name. And the date." She looked down, her hands trembling slightly. "I was in that accident." Daniel's breath caught. "I didn't run," she said quickly. "I stayed until the ambulance came. But I wasn't driving. My husband was. He told me he'd take care of it legally. I believed him." Her voice cracked. "I didn't know your wife didn't make it. I swear I didn't." Tears burned Daniel's eyes. For so long, he'd carried anger like a shield. But hearing her voice, seeing her grief, he felt it crumble. "My husband left me shortly after that," Rebecca whispered. "He walked away with everything. The company was all I had left, and I buried myself in it to forget. But I never forgot that night. Not really." Silence filled the cafe. The hum of the refrigerator was the only sound. "Finally," Daniel said quietly, "I didn't want revenge. I just wanted someone to remember her." Rebecca nodded slowly, eyes glistening. "Then let me remember her, with you." Weeks later, something remarkable happened. Rebecca started a foundation in Emma's name, a scholarship fund for single parents trying to rebuild their lives. Daniel was the first to join, helping organize community classes and events. He still worked at the cafe, but now with a purpose far greater than survival. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the skyline, Lily tugged on his hand. "Daddy, is that the lady who spilled coffee with you?" Daniel chuckled softly. "Something like that." Rebecca smiled from across the park, waving to them. And in that moment, Daniel realized something he hadn't in years. Some people aren't brought into your life by accident, even when it begins with a spill. Sometimes, fate just needs a reason to stir the cup.